Hi everyone, and welcome back to Anxiety Go Go. It's been a little while since I've done a video due to a few different reasons, but today I thought to inspire me to come back on and do some more videoing, I thought I'd choose a card again to talk about. And obviously there's been a lot going on for everybody in the last few weeks, months even. So this is a little bit of a personal one for me, and I always like to use personal sort of experiences because I feel that it makes it easier for other people to relate. This one I've chosen today is called Describe How You Feel. So it's this card here. And I think that's a really important one to be aware of in the deck, because it talks about how we should describe what we're feeling at the time. So when we've got an issue has arisen, or there's a crisis point, or there's something that's happening, it's really important, I think, to understand what it is we're actually feeling. It says, describe how you feel. So that means how you're actually feeling. Can be, it's usually a physical, can be somewhere in your body that you're feeling something. So, and identifying that can really help with the progress to recovery. So it says, is it sadness, agitation, fear, frustration, anger, bitterness, shame, embarrassment? Where is the feeling as well? So sometimes when we get all caught up in the emotions of what's happening or how we're feeling at the time, and we're thinking mostly about what to do, what can we do next, or why is this happening, pinpointing that feeling of what it is we're actually feeling. Are we, concerned more of the outcome, or are we focused, mostly on the outcome, or should we really be looking at what it is that we're feeling and trying to address that instead? Because quite often we confuse those two things. We confuse our emotions for something that we're lacking in, and we think that we need to seek out that to replace that emotion that we're feeling. So identifying how you're feeling, or where it is that you're feeling that, will also help you identify the type of stress that you're going through, or anxiety that you're actually going through. And it will also help you to therefore recover quicker, because you have a clearer understanding of what it is you're actually stressing or you're anxious about. So in my case at the moment, I have a lot of anxiety about a loved one, and I think I carry a lot of that in my stomach and my chest, and that's a common thing for a lot of us, especially those that have anxiety, to feel that you have a heavy chest, or as they say, when you're grieving, a heavy heart. And I think for me, just to realize, and when I stop here now just to do this video, and I think to myself where that pain is, or because to me, there you go, I've just described it, it's a pain for me. So that feeling that I have in my chest is painful for me, and that's how I identify my anxiety. And then I realize that I need to address not so much what is happening, or the cause of what's happening, but what's happening to me as a person. How am I responding to what's happening? And I think that's the first and best bet of managing any circumstances that arise that move us emotionally. So for me, feeling that pain in my chest, I then know that my chest is tight. It's heavy and it's tight. So therefore, I also know my breathing isn't right. To cause that anxiety and that tension in my chest, I know then that I'm taking short, quick breaths and not allowing my chest to expand properly, and not allowing enough oxygen to come in and spread around my body. It also can affect your dizziness and your headspace as well. So a lot of us with anxiety and panic attacks and things like that, we We have lots of dizziness spells, some of us faint, and that is quite often due to lack of oxygen to the brain. So that's the shortness of the breath as well that we're experiencing in that moment of anxiety or stress. So there, bringing yourself back and realizing what you're actually suffering is another way of recovering for what you're actually, the topic that you're actually suffering about. So identifying it is a great way to lessen your stress and regulate your emotion. So now for me, I would have to concentrate on my breathing technique and trying to relax my body. And sometimes for me, in the early days when I used to study the DBT and actually lived out the classes myself, being told to regulate your breathing better or counting your breathing and things like that actually made me a lot worse. But as I've gotten more used to breathing techniques and things like that, I've realized the benefits that it has on my body when I'm very stressed out. So learning how to take nice, big, full, deep breaths through the nose and gently out through the mouth. I don't count it because then I'm focusing on something that in turn makes me think, oh, I'm not doing it right because I can't meet those numbers. So that in turn gives me more anxiety and stress. Some of you will find that better because you will be able to focus on the numbers and the counting, and that will be a form of distraction for you. For those that can't, like me, it's better to just breathe and know that you feel that your chest cavity is nice and expanded so that you're getting that oxygen right into your body. You will find then that the stress levels will lessen and the anxiety, the pressure in your chest will alleviate a bit too. It doesn't necessarily take away what is happening to you, but it will relieve some of those ailments that you're feeling at the time. Another thing that I notice when I think back about the topic that's stressing me out at the moment or causing me anxiety, I feel helpless and I feel there's nothing that I can do. So for me, not being able to manage something or something that's out of my hands is a very big challenge for me. And I think that happens a lot for us as well in our everyday life with just managing our different lifestyles and different personalities, different things that crop up in life. So then I would find myself trying to alleviate that pressure of frustration. So there's my description. Describing how I'm feeling would be frustrated. And I think that in turn comes with my core issue of not being heard, or that my voice, my opinions, my thoughts are not being heard. And that comes a lot with anxieties and the way we've been brought up and things like that. So identifying that, at the moment, that would be a frustration. So I have pain from the anxiety of the lack of breathing technique. The frustration is also another description of how I'm feeling about this. So then I would turn around and say, okay, what can I do to alleviate frustration? My frustration is just what I'm doing right here now, and that's taking a moment. I'll bring the phone out to show you the beautiful scenery, if I can work out how to release this thing. And I'll show you just what I'm sitting here looking at. And I think learning about the things about yourself that gives you those reliefs, and learning about, sorry about my hand there, is very important. So that is going to be, so just to recap, just to go over that quickly for you, because I know I tend to blab a bit. But the idea of it is to describe what you're feeling, what is the emotion that you're feeling, so that you can address that feeling or emotion and help yourself in that time of crisis or state of emotion that you're in at the time. And the idea behind that is having that self-awareness helps you in the future to recognize things before they get to crisis point. It's a very good way of regulating your emotions, and instead of focusing on what's actually happening, like the topic that you're actually is causing you the anxiety, not necessarily the physical feelings, I'm talking about the topic at hand that's causing you the stress or anxiety, and more to the point, turning it around back to yourself and learning how to manage that feelings and emotions that you're feeling about that topic. And this is how we learn to self-regulate our emotions and the way that we deal with things. And you'll find that having to put all that back in together into yourself, turning it back to you and helping yourself work out how to manage this will give you much more relief. It takes a bit of practice, but it is worth doing because it's such an awakening for identifying in yourself and getting to know yourself and how you respond to things as well. So I hope that helps a little bit. I know sometimes I go around the bush a little bit and I get a little bit tongue-tied, but I like to do these videos raw because they're straight from the heart and straight from the knowledge that I've had and experiences that I've had too. So I hope that they don't bore you too much, and any feedback is appreciated. So leave a comment so these videos go further. Thanks for your time again, and I hope I've helped you in some small way. Over and out.